Hello, hello. Welcome to Z-Pay's Artist Corner. We're back for another episode of Dumbing Down of Art. This episode is about film and production. We want to touch on, is there a dumbing down of the Black art production industry, the film production industry? We just want to discuss that and see what your take is as well. But just kind of share thoughts on that. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce my co-host, Jason.
Hey, y'all. So part three, really with the writing and the production, we want to talk about the pushback or pushing back because yes, we have the pressure to dumb down, but there are so many artists who don't succumb to that. And then we also have even organizations here in Nashville that support independent art, that support, people expressing their genuine selves. I thought we could start out by all of us sharing either a song, a film, a book, a poem, or a play that's controversial, but yet, we love it.
I'll start by the one that and I wouldn't say freaked me out, but really just kind of, it made me angry and was Them. Netflix Prime, actually.
Amazon, yeah.
It was an Amazon Prime. Had out last year, 2021 of April. And that really infuriated me. Just because I felt the same way that one of the main characters felt, the female role, where she took on a lot. One, this is kind of a spoiler alert, so you can go ahead and mute this if you want to. But the first part is where her infant was basically murdered in the first part. And the way it was done was even now just speaking about infuriates me. But that spurred on events of where you can say there was kind of a mental anguish throughout the whole film. And just seeing that move, this film supposedly took place in 1950. It's not based on a true story, but damn it, it's based on reality of the Black family in the 1950s and 1960s. They moved from North Carolina to a Los Angeles neighborhood full of white middle class. And, when they first got there, there was kind of this shock. Well, wait a minute, there goes the neighborhood from their white neighbors. So, I wanted to look at the reviews. I did not get to watch the end of the film. It was a little too much for me. But, just watching it and see how things kind of just spiraled down. And it is a horror film as well. And the pushback from it was the reviews were like, why? This is causing dissension between Black and white. Why do they have to put it out there like that? If it's a horror film, stick with horror. And I think those who are pinpointing that as, being less than a horror film or just, not realistic, really they haven't lived the lives of a Black American in that time. And I'm sure a lot of people around that time can relate to moving in the, the redlining and all that. So I'm going to ask my guests. We have, again, Elisheba and Emmanuel. They were also on our first episode. So, guys, what's your favorite film or your film that you could say was like a pushback or, racial, kind of stirred a racial controversy?
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I'm not a movie buff, but what I will say, and I mentioned this in conversation before we started this episode, and it really connects with something my co-guest said. Black Panther was a film for me that I really enjoyed the spirit of Black ingenuity, celebration, culture, color, aesthetics, power. It was just all of those things. And it just made me feel good as a Black person when I watched it, to say oh, yes, it's possible for Black and brown bodies to invent things, and to, inform the rest of the world about things and to be sought after for their intelligence, for their resources in not an oppressive way, And so I'm not sure that movie got a bunch of pushback per se, but I think the celebration, as she said, the celebration of Black culture is controversial many times inherently. And so I think just that movie for me was one that I remember watching and just feeling good.
Yeah.
It was just a good feeling to watch, like, oh, wow, like this is could be an actual thing.
I
you
like the
know?
research that the filmmaker did as far as the different tribes.
Yes.
And their aesthetic, like
Yes.
the
Yes.
design set.
Yes.
When I heard about that, I was like, bomb.
I mean,
that was
the costume designer, I forget her name, but I watched her special on Netflix. It was called, oh gosh, I can't remember. It was a series of a bunch of different creatives. And she had a segment on there, probably about 30 minutes to an hour or so. And it was amazing. You know, to talk about her work on that movie. I'm just like, oh my gosh. Like you said, the colors and the fabrics and what they did and how they fought.
Yes.
You know, and you know, how they spoke to each other and the reverence that they had for each other, even if they weren't fighting. You know, it was still one culture, one group that kind of cohabitated this space, you know. So it was just great, you know, and I just had a really good time watching it. Watched it several times since then. So that would be my pick for something that pushed back, and I think that just pushes back inherently on majority culture.
Yeah. I also loved about Black Panther that we got to do what the Star Wars fans did.
Yes.
You know, we got to cosplay. We got to come out.
Got to look
You
like,
know,
yes.
and as somebody who's an anime fan since forever, I went to Japan in high school and I've been a big anime nerd ever since. But like to be able to go out and cosplay your own characters and be a part of that without always somebody being like, you can't be that character because that character doesn't look like that or something like that. And you have your own things to cosplay to and dress up however you want. Like, I loved it. I dressed up. I had a whole outfit made, y'all, for the premiere.
I'm here for it.
Okay, our whole family was out here like,
Yes. And I know just what you said, a mention about like characters being a different race. I know like the film, and because we have kids, Ariel, you know, Ariel from Little Mermaid is going to be, I believe is it Chloe? I believe it's Chloe or her sister that's going to actually be Ariel.
yeah.
And there was a pushback for that.
Oh,
Ariel
yes.
can't be white. I remember there was a pushback for Annie because Annie was white for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but it's like, wait a minute, Annie does have curly hair. So therefore, Annie can be black. There's another film that's coming out. It's another film that's coming out that it's a black character. I think it's James Bond. Yes.
Oh,
I think, is it Idris Elba? Did he make the cut
I'm
for
not
that?
sure, but
I think it was
he's on the short list.
Right, he's
Yeah.
British. So I mean, hello. So it's always been a British kind of a British setting for that film. So it's kind of like, you know, he can't be, James Bond can't be black. But it's like, hey, the black man is, you know.
But why not though?
Why not?
Like,
Why
why
not?
not? These are fictional characters. They are made up. We're not talking history. You can literally do anything because it's fake.
Well, then also, this is why. Let's look at some of the characters that black films, the black man has played in black films. The Magic Man, you know, or the Negro, the dumb Negro, the butler. So just introducing him, the black man, into a lead character is you know, it's kind of like, wait a minute, you can't do that. So I understand why there's the pushback because the characters and the narrative is changing. You have, you know, Chadwick Boseman as the king. You know, before we had Coming to America. I think I saw. Did y'all see that Coming to America, the second one?
Second one?
I
Yeah.
haven't seen the second one though.
And
It wasn't the same as the first one. I mean, it was.
it's never the same.
But it's a nostalgia trip. All of these movies are nostalgia trips, y'all.
Right.
Like nobody can invent anything new right now. So it's just all nostalgia trips to revisit things.
And by the way, I was on my phone because it was going to bother me. Ruth Carter.
She
was the costume designer, and then the
Yes.
director was Ryan Coogler. Coogler, sorry.
Ruth Carter. She did an amazing
Black
job.
Panther.
Beautiful.
I can't wait
Amazing
to
job.
see
Remind me of the
part
Lion
2.
King.
Yes.
The costumes from the play, The Lion King.
Yes.
The costumes from that and like Black Panther, like just so gorgeous.
Yeah.
I like that they I don't forgot what language it's called. I think it starts with an X, but they use that native language. I think it's either Nigerian or Ghana, or don't quote me on that, but I'm just saying, you know, they have when they do the clicking of the tongues, I'm like, yes, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And it's just actually Chadwick Boseman learned that to take on that role. Like he was badass. I mean, just to be going
Literal
through
real
all
life
of that.
And was sick at the same time.
And sick at the same time.
Literal
Blows my mind.
superhero.
Right.
Blows my mind.
Real life
Literal.
superhero. Marvel Universe for the win.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I just on the same note, kind of to bring the styling back into it. A friend of mine went to Ghana last summer. She's from Ghana. We've been friends since high school, very good friends. And she texts me like 3:00 in the morning. I don't know what time it was there. And she's like, hey, I'm at this market. Do you want this fabric, this Ghanaian fabric? I'm like, sure. I don't know what in the world I'll do with it, but bring it, you know. So she lives in Texas and she sent it back when she got back home. And it sat in my closet for a long time. And so just kind of along the same lines of why can't we mesh things? Why can't we change things up? So I have a good friend here that owns a shop and he's half Japanese and he makes Japanese inspired clothing. And so I said, I wonder if he would do a kimono out of this Ghanaian fabric, you know? And so like, I texted him, I was like, hey, I have an idea.
You know, could you business proposition?
Well,
I was like, could you do this? You know, and he agreed to do it. So then I text my friend who's from Ghana. I said, hey, I want to do a kimono out of this fabric. Is that okay? You know, I didn't want to, obviously I'm not from Ghana. I don't want to disrespect, you know, anything that could, you know, be there. And she said, oh yeah, that's fine. And so he made it. I have it. It's amazing. But again, it's that meshing of the cultures that I think makes things so great. So why can't Ariel be Black? Why can't she be Asian? Why can't she be Native American? Why can't, I don't see a problem. Fictional characters, you making up your own creativity.
Exactly.
Do it.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be an issue there.
I got to show you some artwork later. I got a Black geisha that I'm working on.
Oh,
A
absolutely.
Black geisha.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's
so
amazing.
Absolutely. We'll do it. Yes.
So I appreciate y'all again. Just to wrap it up, I just wanted to shout out a few of the organizations here that help with the pushback. So here in Nashville, for those of you who aren't aware, we have the Belcourt Theater. They've been around since 1925. They support independent films. We have the Nashville Film Festival around since 1969. It's actually the oldest film festival in the South. So definitely check out their website, some of the things that they offer there. And then we have Oz Arts. We got a chance to check out Oz Arts for the first time. What was that, a couple months ago?
Months ago, yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing. So we actually saw a performance.
In celebration of Black history. It was
right.
I think it was a traveling group, and you know their stop was in Nashville, and it was just a theatrical performance through dance and choreography, and it was amazing. The cast was multicultural, so that's what made it amazing because again, you know, just inclusivity and just adding different cultures because we're all one, but it was amazing to see different ethnicities in that, you know, same building and also dancing to that.
Makes me think of Rodgers and Hammerstein Cinderella.
Yes.
Right.
The music is awesome, but you know, every culture in the world was in that movie and it worked.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
Right. It did.
It's a fictional movie. Have a good time.
Right.
You know? Sorry, interrupt. Go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. You know, so interesting because going back to that diversity, so the Oz Arts is actually owned by a Turkish Armenian family. I didn't know that.
Didn't know.
Yeah, and so it's I don't want to mess this up, it's the Ozgener family. They migrated back in 1968. They migrated from Turkey to Nashville, and they've been here ever since. So yeah,
Arts is great.
I love supporting stuff like that, y'all.
Yeah.
I was at that same show, I think.
Really?
Well, maybe not in the building with y'all, but one of the nights it played, I was there. I saw that
word.
show.
Okay.
It was awesome.
We loved it. We had fun, put the kids aside, and just enjoyed our time.
Yep.
So I got a question. Favorite film, favorite Black producer, director. For me, I'm going to shout him out, Spike Lee. I've always thought, but he got game. And of course, The Color Purple was always like, that was my first Black film that I got to see as a kid when it first came out in like the 80s. And I'll always remember that. I got to read the book as well. But just which film did you guys feel like was like your number one hitter?
I mean, one of my favorites of all time was The Wiz, the original.
Yes.
Like,
Move on down, get on down.
he's on down the road, okay? I still sing. I was listening to the album the other day. I have the one from The Play with Stephanie Mills, the vinyl.
Yes.
And I love
Not the
it.
vinyl, yes.
The vinyl, yes. And it's just, I mean, with Michael in it too, like, dude, that was the last time we saw Michael as Michael. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he and... Man, before the change started, yes. But I mean, he was beautiful. The sets were so unique to the story. The Emerald City, I mean, like back when Black Panther came out, you know, the scene in Oz where they change colors and they do the walk and they're fashionable. I had that, I went through the movie and recorded that part for a little clip for social media. I was like, I'm gonna be in Black Panther, like, you know, with the green and the colors. It was so us.
Yes.
And it was a fictional story.
Yeah.
Based off a fictional story that was just made for us. And it was beautiful and I loved it. I don't even know who the director or any of that stuff was, but the cast was amazing. And
With
easily,
the afros.
yes.
It was just black art in a light that we saw it differently, you know, with Dorothy, Diana Ross, you know,
And black excellence.
Yes.
You know, the dancers at the end of "Can You Feel the Brand New Day?" I mean, they were dancers.
Yes.
You know, it was just
fabulous.
It was just elevation.
I always remember
Quincy
Coming
Jones
to
was
America
involved.
when
You
they-
know,
Quincy was definitely in
Perfect.
there. Yes.
He was in that?
He was,
I think he directed the music, I
uh-huh.
believe.
Oh, whoa.
Mhm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow. You
I would
know
have to say for me, Lee Daniels
Lee Daniels?
and was it Boys in the Hood?
Yeah.
I remember my mom actually made me watch that. I was 12, something like that. I feel like, which probably most Black mothers, she was concerned for my life, you know, my future, and I think that to her was maybe a tool. Like, hey, I can't explain all of this to you, but I'm gonna have you watch this film.
Right.
You know, I didn't get it then, but I get it now. But ever since then, like everything Lee Daniels came out with, yeah, I love it. So,
Thank you for joining us. That is a wrap-up to our second episode. Make sure you tune in to our next episode, which is on...
we'll be on visual art, so definitely tune into that.
All right.
I'm a quickest day job.